If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.
Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Folks, the social media world, the digital world, loud, crowded, half-truths, no truths. You need professionals like Dre.
Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Katie's here.
Good morning.
Good morning. I hope Kyle is going to join us soon. And Spence is back in town, so I don't know why he's not here because he said he was going to. But we'll see. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So, other than our president getting COVID, anything else happened this week?
No, not particularly.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't really been paying attention to the news.
Um,
So tell me what's been happening.
I have no idea. All I know is I saw a shot, something that he got COVID. Well, nobody's
Wishing
immune.
a speedy recovery.
Yep.
Always the speediest. I've got a couple of things to maybe get the conversation rolling here this morning. Katie, you dabble in crypto at all?
No, it kind of scares me, to be honest.
Well, I guess you're not the only one. So I saw this article this week. The United States, I don't remember who it is. I think it's the Security Exchange Commission is filed criminal charges over insider trading of crypto, which is interesting because crypto is not a backed security. So it's interesting that they have accused this, and it's actually former Coinbase employees. Claim is that some of these folks were using inside information to either buy or sell these coins, and I guess it's still considered insider trading. I don't really understand how that works because they're not backed securities, and they're not securities at all. So I'm not sure how you can do insider trading with that, but I think this indicates more and more of the U.S. government specifically trying to kind of weasel its way into crypto one way or the other.
I was about to say, how does that even work? Because I thought the government didn't want to recognize crypto as like an actual legitimate form of currency or something. So
they don't.
Yeah. So then they're trying to what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know, control it? What? I don't.
Well, that's the problem is like they don't want to. So, well, the Federal Reserve is going to release their own cryptocurrency which was supposed to be done like last year, and they still haven't done it. But nevertheless, so they don't want it. They don't want to. I think it's that they don't want to be responsible for it. So like if you invest, you put all your money in what was that one coin that lost like 70% of its value? It was supposed to be a stable coin, and it ended up losing all of its value. Nevertheless, the government doesn't want to be responsible for that, but they don't like the fact that now people are sending large sums of money and doing large transactions, and it's bypassing the SEC. It's bypassing the FTC, and they don't have control over that. And I think it really pisses them off.
They're not getting their share from it.
I was about to say,
It's not even their share, but it's the control. Like if you're trying to do something, if you're trying to do something, large asset wise as a company, you have to go through the SEC to get it done. And now you can send, presumably, and it's not happened, but you could send billions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency back and forth, and they can't do or say anything about it. They have no control over it.
Well, here, I was just thinking about this, and maybe I just don't understand how the internet works, but like, how can the U.S. government try to delegate or whatever cryptocurrency, like, if it's not based in the U.S., right? I'm assuming they have servers all over the world. So then does that mean they're going to take ownership and like then they can, I don't know, I'm trying to say, like, how do they have any jurisdiction over it? But if they don't recognize it, or if it's not something that is, I don't know, owned in the States.
They don't have jurisdiction over the coin itself, but what they do have jurisdiction is over companies like Coinbase, which is a US-based company, which is actually traded on the stock exchange, funny enough. I think, almost positive Coinbase is publicly traded. They can just shut them down. So, I mean, you could still use it, but if there's no friendly platform to use it or to send it back and forth, it will be relegated back to where it was prior to Coinbase, which was a very small group of people that had the technical ability and want and need to use it. Now everybody's buying crypto. I mean, Christ, banks are now like, I think, like TD Ameritrade and some of these like big banks and investing platforms, you can now invest in crypto right in these platforms.
You know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing that this stuff's still going to happen. The U.S. government isn't going to be able to stop it or mitigate it or whatever. All of these people are just going to go elsewhere. Like they're going to, if Coinbase is a U.S. company, then they're going to open up a shop somewhere else so that they don't like it's like these people operate online anyways, and they want to get away from regulation. So if you try to put a cap on it, they're going to find a way around it.
How about them? How about that would be I believe it would be the FTC. What if the FTC doesn't allow your bank to accept transactions from this company? So now your money's in Coinbase, can't get it out, can't get it in.
I don't know.
The banks.
This is complicated economical things that my brain on an early Sunday morning cannot process.
The thing there is that the government would like to get into it and control it. They probably know that they cannot, but they need to be there right now because they know that whatever they say, people will still be doing it. So we need to see what is happening. The minute the government, like I can't remember who said that, the minute the government regulates it, it's no longer quote unquote crypto. It's regular money going back and forth.
And I just thought of a solution. Granted, like I said, I'm no economical expert, but like if American banks won't take it, so then you can't take your crypto and exchange it into US dollars, then, maybe a Chinese bank will do it and they'll take a 2% fee or whatever. So you can get Chinese dollars out of it. And then that you could switch over to American money. It was like an extra step. But I mean, like if I could figure that out, people smarter than me could figure out a better solution. But like people will just go around it.
Yeah. And they are.
But the masses won't go around it. That's the difference. The hardcore crypto people will always have a solution. But regular Joe Schmo that just has a Coinbase account and really doesn't care that much, they shut down Coinbase. They make it impossible to withdraw a deposit out of a out of your
Right.
Coinbase account because they're based in another country, he's going to be like, yeah, screw it. I guess I don't really care. And that, I mean, once you restrict the usability of the platform, you do in some regard kind of shut it down. I mean, it's never going to go away. As you mentioned, Katie, it's a, there really is no central server for it. It's a very deregulated thing. You just make it so damn hard to use and complicated that everybody just stops and doesn't care.
And people are afraid to get into it because it's not insured.
Well,
And
that's
they
a
can
concern right
lose.
now, and
Yeah.
that's the biggest problem. Is you've got, unfortunately, so much money in the economy right now, and so many people dumping money into crypto, and this is the problem with the stock market right now as a whole, dumping money into the stock market on stuff they have no idea about, don't understand it whatsoever, then losing their ass, and then blaming everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So the U.S. government will do something at some point. They don't have a. They have.
They will have to, or they will be left behind. Yeah.
So,
But lately, I
that's-
mean, there was a lot of bad news about crypto. This crypto going out of business, so to speak, disappearing, losing a lot of its value.
because they're
Different
scam
ones.
artists.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I haven't really gotten into crypto is that I've heard some horror stories about people pretending that it was crypto or something, and then it's like, oh, okay, I'll buy a couple thousand whatever coin, and then I can't access that money, or it just seemed really easy for people smarter than me to take advantage of it.
Mhm.
So I'm not, like I said, I'm not uber tech savvy. So I was like, I'm not even going to touch this because I won't be able to tell what's real and what's fake. So I might as well not invest my money. But people that are really smart about it, like that's great. Y'all do your thing. But like, it's like, I know I'm going to get scammed somehow. So I might as well not even try.
Let's switch gears here. This is interesting. There was a article in Dave's Computer Tips that had this list in there. It says how long it takes to crack your password when it's simple versus complex. So they start with 7 characters. 7 characters of a password, like they have RTHIOEH, takes 9.5 minutes to break it. To make it complex, which is replacing the last character with an exclamation point, takes a month and 2 weeks, so a month and a half.
Whoa.
Now you go up to 8 characters. And 8 characters of just letters, 4 hours and 7 minutes. You take and you change some to uppercase, 1 uppercase, and 1 number. Still 8 characters, but in there's 1 capital and 1 number. 6 months.
Okay.
Now you go to 9 characters. Straight letters, 4 days, 11 hours. And you go and you change 2 of those characters at the end to exclamation and a number. 1 millennia, 6 decades.
What?
Yep. Then you
Dang.
go to 10 characters. Straight letters takes 3 months and 3 weeks. If you have 2 numbers in there and an exclamation, still 10 characters. 3 millennia, 5 centuries.
Wow.
This is with today's password cracking software. I mean, that doesn't mean that next year there's not going to be somebody come out with a quantum computer and does it in seconds. Who knows? But this is how it is now.
So what does like the software just run through every single combination
Oh
possible?
yes, those things are really. I mean, I've seen one running over 10 years ago, and it was ridiculous.
That's insane.
Yep. And then if you have 11 characters, so it's 8 years, 3 months for the simple one, just letters, lowercase. And then if you have two numbers and funny characters with 11, with 11 characters, 232 millennia, 8 centuries. And it goes up from there, from 12, it goes from 2 centuries of. Now, if you have a password of 12 characters with nothing but lowercase letters, still takes 2 centuries and 1 decade.
Dang.
But
How many centuries does it take if I have a sticky note on my laptop that says the password?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many
Good one.
centuries are we talking about now? Are people really? People aren't cracking passwords.
People don't crack password. It's organizations that do that. I mean, criminals.
Yeah, but are they really though? Like, I don't think.
I don't know.
Even you mentioned, like, for example, let's say, like, we talk about some of these companies that get compromised.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have 5-letter passwords, but
Right.
it all comes down to what is it? What do they call it? Social engineering.
Yeah, absolutely. I
So
mean,
you're not even cracking the password,
Right.
per se.
if there was a solution for social engineering, I mean, if everybody suddenly overnight realized I need to do this and I need to do this and we need to protect this, there is no more breaches, no more leaks, then they will have to, the criminals will have to go for cracking password.
Yeah.
But right now, it is much easier to go to somewhere on the dark web and get a list.
Yeah.
But it's
Well, and
just
it's nice because Chrome and I think Firefox do it now too. If one of your passwords is on one of those lists, it will pop up when you log in and
Yep.
say, I don't know how it does it, but it'll say something to the extent of like, hey, this password is
it's what do you call it? I've been pawned.
I know I've been pawned. So I guess they're screening the password before you enter it. I'm not
I
sure exactly what they're
guess.
doing with it.
I've
Um,
seen that on when I go check my password list or whatever, it notifies me when my password has been compromised for a certain website.
yeah, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool.
But I don't like y'all are saying, I don't think companies or people are getting hacked through their passwords, through them figuring it out themselves. I 100% believe that it's from stupid emails that they're getting on their work computer. Because I've gotten emails from my work computer, and they look legit. And usually you could tell when they're scam because like the wording is weird. They don't use proper grammar, or like there's a logo, but the logo is blurry. Like it's like these little tells that like give it away. But this one looked legit, and it was from YouTube, and it looked like it even had like the copyright thing on the bottom from YouTube, and it had their street address and everything, and like it looked legit. And I got it on my work computer, and I was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "This is a scam." But it looks legit. And so I was even tempted to click it. I mean, I didn't, but like if I was tempted to click it, then somebody at work that I don't know that isn't as savvy or whatever would definitely click it, and then boom, they got crap on their computer and their work computer.
Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. We talk each week about the digital world. It's loud, crowded, it's liars, it's half-truthers. It's all kind of stuff out there. So you need professionals like Drago and his team at Oak City Tech to help you get your message out there correctly to your current and future clients. Go to oakcitytech.com. Tell them what you're looking for. I know they'll be able to help you. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week here on Triangle BNI, we talk to a local small business success story. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, and the surrounding towns, feature 31 groups every week getting together to help each other grow our business. And our guest today is Kirsten Yancey with TMS Digital. She is a member of RD38, the Cleveland Connection. They meet Tuesday mornings at noon. Kirsten is the visitor host, which means she's very nice to people and welcoming and remembers names from everybody from all of 2022. Kirsten, good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. I hope you are.
I am. So visitor host, fun job because you get to meet everybody. Every week at the meetings, you're one of the few that gets to shake everybody's hands.
Yep. Shake hands, remember names, gotta say the name about 7 times with me to remember it.
Yeah, or find something that, oh yeah, I've got a brother or a sister that's their name, and if I remember it, so it's hard.
Yeah, it's the triad,
So anyways, it is a fun job because like I said, you get to meet everybody, but TMS Digital, a family-owned business out of Clayton, and you are a brand ambassador there. So does that mean going on TV, going to car shows, go to festivals on weekends, all that stuff?
Actually, I mean, sure. I am all over our social media. I am a Clayton Chamber of Commerce ambassador, so you'll find me at the networking events for the Clayton Chamber of Commerce. I am technically a digital marketing specialist, so I'm meeting and onboarding clients for TMS Digital, but as far as brand ambassador, yes, I am the face of TMS. So if you were to go on our Facebook and Instagram page, you'll see me a lot. It just happened that way. And so,
it works for everybody, right? Because nobody else wants to do that, which means, hey, tag, you're in. So, for those of us with businesses, we're going to talk about web design in a second, but social media, where do we make mistakes?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Well, and that's why I didn't ask how many, because that's like 7,212. I thought if we started with where do we get ourselves in trouble?
So there's a fine line between, because I tell folks, I say, people can spot a stock photo a mile away. You want to be personal because the clients will connect with that, or potential clients. You don't want to get too personal though. Nobody wants to know even if they align with your political and religious views, don't cross that line on your business pages. So that's where we found those mistakes are the biggest mistakes for social media for businesses.
And a couple things that jump out at me, especially on LinkedIn, where I spend most of my time there, is the horrible cell phone picture. It's a selfie. You can tell they're doing this, right? Or it's a picture of their dog. They run a window cleaning business and there's a picture of their dog. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And I don't get just take a professional photo and put it up there. But I see it's simple things like that. When somebody goes to check you out, I think a lot of people want to know that, hey, they're buttoned up, they mean business.
Yeah. I tell people that is something I say. If I'm confused, then your everyday consumer is confused. because I do this all day long, 40 hours a week, sometimes 50 hours a week. If I'm confused by looking at you, then I know Susie Q is.
Now, which makes you cringe more, a bad picture or no picture?
No picture.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Because I don't know what I'm going to expect.
Yeah. Do you exist? A, do you exist? And B,
Yeah.
and I love the, well, and I'm a little old to do this, but I think I'm sure folks in your age range have thrown that late college picture up there, or first job out of college, which may be 8 to 10 to 12 years later, and try to pull that off. And then you meet them, you're like, huh.
And, once I started noticing I don't look like that anymore, it's time to rotate those photos out.
Yeah, and during COVID, I grew a beard, and I had to get a new picture taken because that's the right thing to do. This is what you're going to see, like it or not. This is what you're going to get.
You're not Mike.
Yeah, I know. So. I love family-owned stories and businesses, and your dad started the company in 1998 in Rocky Mount. It's now based out of Clayton. It was originally Tar Heel Media Digital.
Tar Heel Media Solutions.
So,
sorry.
Okay.
We went through a couple different phases. So when we first started out in '98, we were strictly the phone book. So it was Tar Heel Pages.
Yep.
And when we started evolving and incorporating the digital aspect, which was in 2009, then we were Tar Heel Media Solutions because we were still doing the telephone directory, some print advertising. We did sort of like a Clipper, but hyper local in Johnston County. And then also the digital aspect. So we were your media solutions. And then when we became just digital, we kept the Tar Heel Media Solutions, the TMS, and we're strictly digital, so TMS Digital.
Would love a show of hands of the folks watching and listening. Who knows what a phone book is? When was the last time you used it? And yes, there were companies back in the day, I'm sure most of us remember, that nothing but the phone book, and that's what we did. Oh, I need an auto mechanic. Let's go to the Yellow Pages and just start. And that's why it was great at that point in time for your company to be named, first letter was A. You're like A Auto, not just auto, but A Autos.
It was A1 or triple A1, and I had to tell a couple people. They said, especially if they're younger than me, because and granted, I've only used a phone book a couple of times, less than a handful of times. And some of the younger folks, they're like, why would they be named, triple A1, blah blah blah? I go, that means this company has been around for at least 30 years.
Yes.
They're like, huh? I go, alphabetical order in the phone book. You wanted to be first.
Oh, it's so good back then. But you just scrolled through and, either the first one that popped up or whatever the first one nearest you popped up, and we just called them and went.
Yeah.
And those days, oh boy. When was the last time you guys ever printed one of those?
So we actually had our very last directory was the 2017 to 2018 edition in Rockingham County. Yeah.
Okay.
Not that recent.
Wow.
They loved the phone book up there. They really did. They were upset that we were discontinuing it in 2017.
Oh yeah.
And we were like, I'm sorry, y'all. Like it's the internet, you know, like it was pulling teeth to get them to quit.
Yeah, and it's funny what you and your dad have seen from the first time, because you started there in 2004. It was a summer job. And just what you've seen now. Now we're worried about, okay, will my website transfer onto a cell phone so it comes up properly? Is it set up and everything like that? And again, I mean, who knew we would be here back in 2004? I'm sure somebody did. Well, Steve Jobs did. We know that.
Yeah.
But just the stuff you've seen in our thought process on just how to use and find information.
Mm-hmm. It's nuts. I mean, like I still remember the first time I had a computer, the first cell phone I got. I was much older than my nieces are 10 and 8 now, and they got their first cell phones last Christmas. I was 14 when I got my first cell phone, and it was the Nokia that had Snake on it. There was no internet on a cell phone back then. I just got it so I could play Snake because everybody else was talking about it. But yeah, I mean, just to think about in that short span of time as well, to go from a Nokia to forget the one that like flipped around with the keyboard, you could actually access the internet on that. I mean, the screen was teeny tiny and you couldn't really read anything, but you could access the internet. And then immediately it was the iPhones, and the iPhones blew up. And and over 80% of contact to the internet is via a mobile device. So it's nuts.
And I'm still an Android user. I've tried the iPhone a couple times. Family members have them, and as I gotten older, I just explained to people, my eyes just don't see it. That's the best way I can explain. There's just no connection. But with a Samsung, it's nice and easy, and I don't need it for a lot. But back in the day, my brothers he had a BlackBerry. He loved those things.
We have found that if you were a BlackBerry user, that Android is how you pivoted to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he loved it.
And I tell people all the time, I'm like, I don't have anything against Androids. iPhone was the very first smartphone I ever used. And it's about like, I don't want to learn how to use another phone if I'm comfortable with the phone that I've had for, 10 years now. So,
yeah, you didn't have to relearn anything, so why start with that? So,
I look at my dad's phone, I'm like, hey, this is like a different language to me.
You mean you look at his flip phone?
No, he's got an Android.
My dad, considerably older than your dad, years ago, we'd always give him grief because he wouldn't text. He's got grandkids, he's got kids, everybody's texting, right? And it's like, Dad, just flip open your phone, we'll show you how you can text. Of course, his flip phone, you had to punch the same number 3 times to get the third letter on that, which, right? Oh yeah, it would take you forever.
I loved that.
Oh no, he hated that, which is one of the reasons why he didn't text. But we'd ask him something about his phone. He goes, can you do that on your phone? He goes, no, but I have an app for it. Which that's his way of telling us, just shut up. I'm done talking.
Yeah.
But, and I've not gotten to the point yet where I have one of those oversized phones with font size this big for the letters so I can see them. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I kind of see why people get it, but I'm not quite there yet. So. Working for a parent, more pressure or less pressure?
More, 100%. People would, my first year in sales here, when I said that I was the boss's daughter, they're like, oh, well then you should definitely like be able to come. And I was like, no, I am under more scrutiny than anybody else here. Like if I, leave out one thing from my notes, it's Kirsten, like what? So, yes, I'm definitely held to a higher standard. So I am, and I love it. I mean, the more, I don't want to be in a too relaxed of an environment because that's when you start to lose your work ethic,
Yep.
So.
And when you first came to work there, did you and your dad decide on what you were going to call him?
So it's a very laid back environment. So there's only a couple of people who call him Mr. Hayes. For the most part, he's on a first name basis with everybody. He came from corporate, which, he hated it. And that's why he started his own business. And he doesn't want anybody here to feel like they're in a corporate situation. So, he makes everybody feel at home here and that they're another member of the family.
So what do you call him at work?
I call him Jeff.
Okay. All right. And I've seen both with people working for their parents. Everybody's whatever they agree upon, that's fine.
Yeah.
So
I'll say my dad or Jeff,
Yeah.
so
The furthest client from Clayton, North Carolina of yours is where?
Oregon.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I was on vacation. It never turns off.
How'd you run across him then?
We were at a diner. There was a cork board with a bunch of business cards. And I called him. Well, I called all of the business cards that I picked up. But he was like, actually, yeah, I've been thinking about putting together a website. Oh, got some time to meet tomorrow. And
nice.
Yeah, that was 2018 or 2019.
Good for you.
So
did your dad let you write the whole trip off then?
Yeah, well, it was on his ticket to
Okay.
begin with, so he was excited about it because then it turned into a business
Okay,
expense.
Well, that's a cool story. I like those.
Yeah.
Two things we must have on our website.
Contact information, and call to action buttons.
Hang on a sec. It's sad that you have to lead with contact information. Is that not the reason why we have a website? And I'm amazed at the people that make it so hard for me to get in touch with them.
There was one I came into contact with, I think it was last week. It might have been the week before, but I had to go digging for his information. It wasn't even on the contact page because it was nowhere on the homepage. And I was like, all right, contact page. He had no contact form either. And I want to say it was at the bottom of the about page. So it was on a random, it was in a random area. Like it just did not make sense. So, yeah.
I'm just amazed. And the other thing that gets me is one of the big things we learn in B&I is relationship marketing. We get to know, like, and trust people so we can refer them. And more times than not, I believe when I go to somebody's website, their about section, if they have it, I think it's done wrong because it doesn't personalize anything. You don't have to have the life history of the owner, but give me a picture or give me how the company started. You guys do it right, obviously, but there's so many people that fail to connect with people that come to their website.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. Why?
Yeah. And it's like, why have the about page if it's not truly about?
Do they feel like that maybe that's not corporate enough and they're trying to be corporate instead of a business in Clayton or Apex or, Fuquay? I mean, I just, so anyways, tell them to put that up there. For what it's worth, tell them Mike said, put the stuff up there, because people want to people want to know. The transition, okay, so from print and digital, we talked about some funny stuff as you guys grew. COVID years, and I don't think it's over, so I'm not going to get on any soapbox or anything like that one way or the other. But from the day everybody was sent home, most companies like, hey, everybody's working from home now. How did that change for you guys with the way companies wanted to or did promote what services they had?
So of course it was scary for everybody in that first month. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Like, is my business going to fail miserably? And we actually saw a lot of growth in 2020. We have a lot of contractors who did supremely well for 2020, 2021, and are still doing very well. And we saw an increase in their social media spend because they were getting an increase of calls and wanted to make sure that they were, ahead of their competitors wherever they could be. And I mean, it was, I think, a rough time for everybody, obviously, but the day that it opened back up, we were back in the office. I am not a work from home person. I could not stand it to save my life. I felt like the walls were closing in and all that. But I mean, we worked it out. We just, my dad had a plan in place, and it worked out for everybody. I mean, we didn't lose any employee during it. There's one of our employees is still, she comes in a couple days a month, but, she really liked the work from home aspect. And, if she's happier there, then again, my dad's like, hey, I want to keep everybody happy because, that's,
I was
trying to create
amazed.
a space for everybody.
And I was amazed at some of the restaurants who didn't do a lot of takeout business. All of a sudden realized nobody's coming in, so we better step it up. And there's some wonderful stories in the restaurant business about how they stayed open just by doing that. And now it's a big part of their business.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Me and my husband were very adamant about, there's our favorite restaurant that's around the corner from us, at least twice a week, even if it was like us just sharing a burger, because of course it gets expensive if you chew too much. But we made a point to go in and, wait outside, but we order something. Like, we made a point to support as much as we could during that shutdown. And during when restaurants didn't open back up full capacity for quite some time. I think it was until August almost that they didn't open back full capacity. But we made a point, I think it was Cinco de Mayo, we got food to go from La Casina, which is here in Clayton. And we waited an hour and a half for food, but I was a happy camper because I was like, I'm getting tacos from La Casina.
Yep.
Like, I didn't care how long I had to wait.
Tacos work everywhere, don't they? Tacos and bacon, I've found, pretty much work everywhere.
Yes. Yeah.
I think you and I met, we've not known each other long. We've known each other a couple of weeks, but we had a lot of fun at what was the Double Barrel Bar in Smithfield?
Double Barley.
Double Barley Bar,
Brewery.
yeah.
Yes.
We met when the Smithfield Core Group was having a mixer, chance to get to meet some new people. So that's the first time you and I chatted. We had a blast. I think I asked you who spelled your first name, but tell that story again. Why is it spelled that way? Those are the quirky things that intrigue me, Kristen.
Yes. So my mom has, one of her best friends is Kristen, and she wanted to name me Kristen. And my dad said, there's enough Kristens in the world. Let's name her Kirsten. And on top of that, they just decided to spell it in the most bizarre way possible, so that way I would be correcting people the rest of my life. And then on top of that, my maiden name is Nixa. So I was also correcting people on that because they were always trying to French it up.
And of course, your parents' names are Jeff and Susan or something like that. Simple to spell, right? I don't know your mom. What's your mom's name?
Yes, they're very run of the mill names. Yeah.
What is your mom's name?
Lisa.
Yeah, there you go. And they give you.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you got back with them one day as you were growing up. I'm sure that.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is Yancey Nothing Yet?
That is, so that came about, my husband and I started an LLC a couple years ago. And we had always said that we wanted to do something with that verbiage because it being his last name, we were in our apartment together in Austin, and he said something and I just came at him and I was like, Yancey Nothing Yet.
Yeah.
And he dropped John. He goes, what? I go, have you never thought of that before? Like, it's your last name. He goes, never. And I go, oh my God. Like,
but that's what you
dumb.
But that's what you do for a living.
Yeah.
Is that.
So I picked up that URL
before
I got into sales because I was like, I'm going to make sure people know that that's ours. It was the hashtag for our wedding. So anybody who, took any photos that day, they're all collected on social media under that. And it's our trademark basically. So anything that we do has Yancey Nothing Yet attached to it.
Is that the barbecue sauce business as well?
Yes, so that's the name of the LLC. The name of the sauce is Yancey's Fancy Pants.
Nice. And now, did you come up with that too?
I did.
Nice. He really owes you, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Was that a dream of yours to have a business and it turned out to be that business, or did you guys just stumble on it?
I just kind of stumbled on it as more of a hobby and decided to bottle it one day, so it was like, okay, we're getting good feedback from it. Let's just go ahead and slap a label on it. And
Is that
see where it
his
takes
full-time
us.
job?
So no, he actually works at Coca-Cola.
Okay. All right. So this is your weekend hobby?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. With plans for bigger distribution one day?
Just if it happens that way, then it happens that way. But not putting a whole lot of stock into it.
I get
It's
it.
just
Stock.
fun.
Nice pun, yeah. I would imagine coming up with new tastes and flavors has to be fun.
Yes, yeah. So my husband wants to do a Chipotle one in the future, and I actually want to. I've been making salsa since I was 12, and I want that to be the next thing
There you go.
ahead of the Chipotle. So
That you can put on your tacos when you order them, right?
yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
We marketers connect dots, don't we?
Yeah.
Now you can sell both of them. Yeah, just what you want to do is start making tacos, right?
Yeah. I actually had brisket tacos last night for dinner.
Ooh, the brisket
Yes.
is, oh man. Oh yeah, by the way, happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right. So hopefully you got spoiled enough over the whole weekend.
I did. I had a very good couple of days.
Good.
Since Thursday. Yeah.
That may as well start it. You should try next year, take all of August.
I've never been good at doing the whole month thing, but I definitely take, from my birthday through the weekend.
All right.
So
And when was your birthday?
Thursday.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday.
We
Good.
did a happy hour. Most of the people from the office were able to make it. Some people from the Cleveland Connection stopped by, and family. And then on Friday, I took the day off, and just had a long weekend. It was really
There you go.
nice.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a selfish moment here. On Saturday morning, our first granddaughter was born.
Oh, yay!
Yep, we've been waiting. She was a week early. Her name is Maggie. She naturally is spectacular.
Yes.
So I got to hold her for a little bit in the hospital till they told me to put her down. And I was talking to her, telling about all the fun things she's going to learn. And, she's young enough to know that I don't sing well at all. So I sang her a couple songs, and she didn't wake up screaming, so I took that as a plus. But
That's good. That's good.
I have a good picture of her older brother Oliver, who the show is familiar with. He went to the hospital for the first time Saturday afternoon, and just to have a good picture of him looking at her asleep in her bed. And I was texting with Oliver's mom the other day, and I said, I just want to know the thought bubbles.
Yeah.
Here's a 4-year-old thinking, because he knew she was coming. He's very excited about helping and having a baby sister, because he's got cousins on his mom's side of the family. There's a brother-sister or sister-brother combo. So he knows that dynamic in the house. Now he has one. But yeah, I'm just waiting to when he realizes, hey, I'm not the cute one here anymore.
Yeah.
But we are having a blast. Yep.
Yeah, that'll. I have an older sister, and she actually wanted me to live in the garage when I was in my mother's womb.
Yeah.
She had a playroom, which was about to be turned into a nursery, and her idea was to move me to the garage. So.
Yeah. Hey, nobody could
The
blame.
dynamic definitely does change when you're about to no longer be the only child.
Hey, no older sibling would argue with that, I'm sure. So back to you and your husband, Peyton. Always like to ask people on the show, How did you and Peyton meet, and do you both tell the story the same way?
We do not tell the story the same
Ooh,
way.
good. I like these even better.
No, not at all. So we met through a mutual friend. So she was a coworker of mine in Austin when I was bartending and serving, and she was a friend of his. And I was actually dating somebody else at the time, and she went to introduce me to them, and I was very rude because I was dating somebody else, and I was like, "Do you need something over here? Because I'm crazy busy with all of my other tables, and no, you don't need anything? Perfect. Bye." And left, and that left a lasting impression on both of us until he came in on a slow night, and I was no longer dating said person. And I knew that he was a personal trainer, like freelance, and did this, it's called TRX, and I had never tried it before. And so I sat down and I was like, "Hey, so I really want to try that TRX thing." And then he was my personal trainer for a while, and then we started dating, and then we had moved in with each other within like 6 months, and then the rest is history. But he his side of the story is funnier.
and yet he came back to see you, tells you that there was a impression left. Maybe a different one than you thought, right?
He actually had my phone number prior to me giving it to him. So he stole my phone number from my coworker's phone.
That should tell you something. He gets 2 points for that.
I guess he knew something was going to happen.
And I tell people all the time, for my kind, and thank you to your kind for dating my kind, because we're not easy to live with sometimes. We're fun and we're predictable, and y'all give us way more credit for being smart than we are. But when we see somebody we want to meet, we will chase. Yes. We will chase, and he did, didn't he?
He did, yes.
Well, good for you. The reason you were in Austin was kind of traumatic. You had an injury at work with a glass table that did some damage to your knee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Freak accident. Shaved side of a glass tabletop rolled out onto my knee and cut off a chunk of skin. I actually just celebrated, and I say celebrate because it did happen. It led to a great series of events. Yeah. So I celebrated the 12-year anniversary of it on Saturday. And had that not happened, I never would have moved to Austin. I never would have met my husband, and I wouldn't be where I am today. So
the accident happened locally, but you went to Austin to live with your mom and rehab there?
Yes. So it happened when I was working at Logan's Nursery in downtown Raleigh. My mom and dad were living in Austin at the time. And then when I told her what happened, I downplayed it 100%. Yeah. I was like, "Oh, I had stitches, blah, blah, blah." I really couldn't walk. And so her friend called her and said, "You need to get up here. It's a lot worse than what she's saying." And my mom came up, packed up my apartment in 3 days, and I was living in Austin. And it took about 6+ months to fully recover. And then then I was out looking for jobs, and
naturally you picked something where you were standing all night. Bartending, right? Good decision.
Well, it was, I was laying down most of the day for 6 months after being a very active person my entire life. So I was ready to be on my feet again.
Laying in bed that long, you must have had 1,000 different thoughts and scenarios that you went through your head of how this was going to play out, good, bad, or indifferent. That must have been as tough a thing to do. You just laying there with nothing to do but think.
Yeah, it was. I'm a horrible patient. like I do not like to have to rely on anybody. So I got in trouble a lot for trying to go downstairs to do something. And, you're supposed to be on the couch. You're supposed to just be waiting. I'm like, oh my God, I just want chips. I just want hummus. Like, I want to stop yelling at you for things,
And I'd like to get it on my own for once, right?
Yeah. And I could not wait till I could start running again and I could get back to my, I remember posting about it in 2010, that I got to my first 11-minute mile. And I was very excited that I was able to run the whole time and didn't have to stop and walk. And then I got it down to 9. And then I was back down to a 7.5-minute mile. And I was just like, oh my God, it's so exciting. And don't ask me to run a 9-minute mile right now. But it's very exciting to, even just be walking that entire time, let alone running that entire time. So yeah, the 6-month rehab was, I was going stir crazy. Like I said, I couldn't even work from home for 2 months during the shutdown, let alone lay on a couch for 6 months. It was,
And would your mom consider it, now that she looks back on it, would she consider that good bonding time, or did you just yell at her the whole time?
I don't know that I've ever asked her that question. I guess I'm kind of afraid to ask her because I don't want to know what she has to say about it.
But I do, and that's really what matters today.
I'm sure there were some good bonding moments because we did go to like a couple of matinee movies together where she knew that I'd be able to put my leg up.
Yep.
She's like, all right, she is going a little crazy. Because we went to see the movie Easy A. That was the first movie I had seen, the first new movie I had seen in over 3 years. Like there was a time in my life that I have like this media blackout because when I lived by myself in downtown Raleigh, I had no TV. I had no access to the internet. If I wanted to do online courses, I actually had to go to the public library and they had, and I was only there to do my online courses. So there's a good amount of movies and TV shows that if it came out between 2007 and 2010, I didn't see them. I still don't know about them.
I feel that way about 90s music, having 2 kids in the 90s, young. It's like, I couldn't tell you what happened in the 90s.
Yeah, I'm like, there's still movies that Peyton will bring up, and I'm like, I don't know, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
Yeah.
I go, what year did it come out? And he goes, like 2009, 2010. I'm like, media blackout. I don't know what to tell you.
Right. As I always like to do some intel on my guests, just so I have good talking points. Because it's all about me being entertained. Let me just say that up front here. So in reverse order, it was University of Phoenix, Peace, and Middle Creek High School. Yet you were confident enough on LinkedIn to post graduated Middle Creek High School with honors. Really?
Yes.
Do we need to be taunted with that for those of us that did not graduate with honors? Come on.
Yes.
Had I graduated with honors, I probably would have put it up there.
100%.
Any particular classes they were with honors on?
So let's see. The only C that I got
Oh, jeez. I hate these stories.
was in my junior year, first semester, and I got it in U.S. history. And I was able to curve that C on the final to a B. Okay. So like all throughout, and I missed a lot of school at the beginning of junior year. I was constantly getting strep throat, and then I ended up getting my tonsils removed. So that cleared up all that. So that had a lot to do with my C in that class. And so I made up that C by acing the final. And my honors was just basically I was in the top 5% of my graduating class.
Ooh,
So,
look at me.
yeah. Like,
At any
well, I
point,
tell people if you have a horn to toot it. So
yes, and I agree with that 100%. At any point in time in that history class, did you want to tell the teacher, tonsils are gone, been a rough couple months, can you like throw 2.5 points on there, get me to an 80.5?
he was such a hard
Yes.
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 And I mean, I asked for extra credit, like if there was anything that I could do to. He was like, "No, I don't offer extra credit. That's something that you would get in junior high." Like, and I was like, what? Like, you know that I was out. Like all of my other teachers knew that I was out for.
Yeah.
Strep throat, and he was just not having it. I was like, oh my God. So I definitely studied up and I aced that. He was also the tennis coach, and I tried out. I am not coordinated at all, but I will try my hand in something new every once in a while. And I think when I tried out for the tennis team and I just started laughing at myself, he didn't find that amusing, which I feel like you should laugh at yourself if you mess up. Like, I'm not going to beat myself up over it if I let the ball hit me in the face. Or I didn't let it hit me in the face. I just couldn't
get
it.
out of the way.
I don't think he found that very amusing.
Probably not.
I think he thought that I was making fun of tennis, but I was really making fun of myself.
I can see him doing that. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? This isn't for me. I'm going to walk off the court.
How often does your Spanish come in handy at work?
Ooh, very often. Well, maybe like 60% of my clients are Hispanic, and of that 60, I'd say about 50% of them are English second language. So it's not that I have to use it heavily, but it does come in handy.
Well, good.
So
It matters. Things like that matter.
Oh yeah,
I'm a big fan of people that speaking of tooting your own horn, I've run across people that are like, yeah, I'm bilingual. I'm like, why are you not telling people that?
Yeah.
People, there are clients looking for people that are bilingual. Tell people that.
My dad brags on it more than I do.
Yeah.
Like he finds any chance to bring it up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're giving me more credit than I'm due, but I appreciate it.
It's one of those parent moves. My daughter's a comedian. Kirsten, come over here and tell a joke, right? It's like, on the spot, Dad? Come on. Hold your left band up, your left wrist up there. Show me that wristband. Tell me the significance of that. I love this story.
So this one, I actually got my full color purple one dirty when I was fixing the dryer. So like I said, I don't like relying on people. I fix the dryer all by myself. But I went with still this purple color scheme due to epilepsy awareness. That's the color ribbon for epilepsy awareness. It's also my favorite color. So that's just by accident.
And I knew none of that till I met you, that purple was even the color of the organization. But I applaud you for that. And I know you're involved with fundraisers and everything because that's part of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, good stuff. Good stuff. So one last tip. Somebody today thinking about start doing their own website. Give them two things to keep in mind as they're doing it.
Oh, okay.
They're eventually going to get it wrong, so they're going to call you, but they want to try it first, so we're going to humor them here. So two things to keep in mind.
It is more work than the free websites tell you it is.
Yes, it is.
And there are an insane amount of changes that happen, not just every year, but every month with Google. And you already wear enough hats. Why not relinquish one of those?
Good to know. There are some things we just need to outsource.
Yeah.
Some things we can do ourselves, like fixing a dryer. But other
Yeah.
things, just, because what's your time worth? Are you going to spend
Exactly.
17 hours doing something it would take somebody else an hour and a half to do?
Mhm.
So how are you going to make up those 15 and a half hours?
Yeah, and it's time is money type of thing,
Yes.
but it's DIY sites still cost your time,
Yeah.
so it's my very first presentation at the Cleveland Connection. Actually, I passed out a bunch of pieces of paper. Each one of them had different amounts of time on them. And I asked everybody to write down what they could do with that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody would have 2 hours, 90 minutes, 14 hours, that sort of thing. And I went around and I just said, what time did you get? And Brian Sandals, he had 2 hours, and he said, I can watch a movie with my son.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, okay.
Yeah.
And what can you do with that?
Yeah.
And I said, these are all things that instead of everybody said something that had to do with quality time with their family.
Yep. Which was interesting.
Not like, I can update my website.
Yeah.
Because some of those hours, that's how long it would take to match up with what just happened yesterday or last week with Google, and I'm a family person. Like if I have 2 hours, 2 extra hours that I can spend with my family, I'm choosing the 2 extra hours with my family.
Yeah, because you got a loving husband, 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a side business. So you got things going on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need
Just
at least 4 more hours. So tell Dad you're going back to because tell him with all the other millennials you want a 32-hour work week paid at 40 hours, okay? See how well that goes over.
I know, right?
So anyways, folks, we've been putting Kirsten's number on the screen there. You need a professional to do stuff like that. Just trust me on this, okay? Trust me. But give her a call, even a free consult. She'll tell you what they can do and some thoughts on what you need. But please, in this particular area, find a professional. Kirsten, this was a blast. Enjoy the stories. Glad this was your 12th anniversary. And you're back running again, and we're going to hold you to that 7.5 minute mile one day, not today, but one day. So, but glad to have you on the show today.
Yes, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
And we'll see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.
Person can go in and do stuff, and then they have access to the work stuff.
Yeah, so that's the thing is also remember that you said nobody is getting hacked. A lot of people get hacked.
Oh.
Not by people, by Trojans, by a
Yeah, but you're
virus.
not but you're not being quote unquote hacked.
Right,
You're
well-
allowing the vulnerability.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
you
And then,
right.
That's what I was saying, that there's not a computer that's like pulling up your computer and trying to type in
No.
password 123. It's like somehow targeting you, and then you click on a link, and then boom, you've got a virus.
Well, there is only one situation where people do open up a browser or whatever and type a username and a password to try to break in, and that's hardware. When you know the default username and password for certain, let's say, router, you can try to sign into it and use those because a lot of people don't change them.
Yeah.
So in that case, they many times they have luck, but even those are, I think these days they get machines to do that. So just be careful. That's the thing. But it was just interesting to see that, you add one letter from 7 to 8, and it goes to months. You go from 7 to 9, and it's a millennia. I mean, it is just amazing.
So what I'm hearing is that if the Romans had computers, they would at this point have hacked everybody's computers. They had a few thousand years to work that out.
Yep. Now, if you have 12, it's 15,000, 12 characters. It's 15,368 millennia and 3 centuries.
I was just thinking, at that point, you might as well make your password a monologue. Like, you have to log in and you have to, like, sing a soliloquy or something, and then that's how you get into your computer.
Well, and it's true, because these days they say, don't use a complex, as far as, combination letters and all that. Use a phrase that you can think of, like some line from some song or something like that, and just add a couple of funny characters in between.
Well, if you notice, like, if you go to visit somebody that has Wi-Fi from their cable company, the passwords on those cable routers used to be just random letters, and now it'll be like red unicorn 34.
Yeah,
because that's what they're doing, just generating a random phrase, which is way more secure than a random set of letters and numbers.
Yep. So just think about it. If you have simple passwords, just see what big difference it makes to just add a few more characters and a number or a funny character in there. It compounds it. It's amazing. And talking about hardware, a Miami-based CEO has been arrested for allegedly importing $1 billion worth of counterfeit Cisco equipment from China and then selling it on Amazon and eBay. The Justice Department announced today, that was last week, that it had indicted 38-year-old Anur